Hey Colts, it's Mrs. Hladun. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. Today is Earth Day. I don't have an Earth-themed book to read, but I did find a couple of poems from my original copy of Shel Silverstein's Where the Sidewalk Ends. And this is my original copy of this book, and I found it today on a bookshelf in my upstairs. And this book is really old. It was given to me back by my godparents back in 1985, which is like forever ago. So this book, the binding is all broken, and it is a well-loved book. So anyways, we're going to read 3 poems from this book that I think are kind of fun. And here's the first one. It's called What's in the Sack? What's in the sack? What's in the sack? Is it some mushrooms or is it the moon? Is it love letters or downy goose feathers or maybe the world's most enormous balloon? What's in the sack? That's all they ask me. Could it be popcorn or marbles or books? Is it 2 years worth of your dirty laundry or the biggest old meatball that's ever been cooked? Does anybody ask me, hey, when's your birthday? Can you play Monopoly? Do you like beans? What's the capital of Yugoslavia? Or who embroidered that rose on your jeans? No. What's in the sack? That's all they care about. Is it rocks or a rolled up giraffe? Is it pickles or nickels or busted bicycles? And if we guess, will you give us half? Do they ask me where I've been or how long I'll be staying, where I'll be going or when I'll be back, or how do you do or what's new or hey, why are you blue? Nope. All they keep asking is, what's in the sack? What's in the sack? I'm blowing my stack. At the next one who asks me, what's in the sack? What? Oh no, not you too. I wonder what's in that sack. I wonder what your prediction is. I do think it kind of looks like maybe a giant meatball, or a balloon is another good idea. I'm not sure. I wonder what you think it is. I do wonder if it's heavy. He looks like it's heavy, but maybe it's heavy because he's always carrying it. I don't know. Okay, well, here's our second poem. Let me turn the page. Okay, this poem is called The Long-Haired Boy. There was a boy in our town with long hair. I mean, really long hair. And everyone pointed at him and laughed at him and made fun of him. And when he walked down the street, the people would roar and stick out their tongues and make funny faces and run in and slam the door and shout at him from the window until he couldn't stand it anymore. So he sat down and cried till his whole body shook, and pretty soon his hair shook too, and it flapped, and he lifted and flew straight up in the air like a helicopter. Jenny Ricks saw him and dropped her knitting and screamed, "It's a flying kid!" Lukey Hastings ran and hid under Old Man Merrill's car. Miss Terrence fainted. Henry Quist tried to shoot him down but missed. "I thought he was a crow," he said, and round he sailed all through the day, smiling in the strangest way. With the wind in his hair and the sun in his eyes, we saw him swoop and bank and rise. He brushed the treetops and skimmed the grass on Yerby's lawn and almost crashed right into Hanson's silo, but zoomed up in time and almost hit the courthouse. Old Man Cooley bit right through his napkin when he saw a kid fly through the diner door and out the window, tipping the ladder where Smokey was painting. He almost had a heart attack. He clung to a rafter. The kid flew on, us running after, cheering and sweating and screaming, "Hooray!" Mayor Lowry shouted, "Hey, come down here, kid. We'd like to say how proud we are of you today. Whoever thought our little town would have a hero in it? So I'd like to proclaim this day. Hey, kid, will you please come down here just for a minute?" But the flying kid did not come down. He treaded air above the town, sort of crying and looking down at all of us here on the ground. Then up he flew up into the clouds, flapping and flying so far and high, out past the hills and into the sky, until a tiny speck against the sun was all we could see of him. And then he was gone. That's the end of that one. I like that poem a lot because sometimes kids aren't always very kind to each other, and it can really hurt people's feelings, and that's not friendly, and it's definitely not the Colt way. But what I love about this story is that the boy didn't let other kids being mean to him stop him from achieving his dreams and doing something remarkable. And he didn't need all the other people that weren't his believers to be able to be his very best self. He was able to do that because he believed in himself, and I think that's a really important message. Okay, here's the last story from this book. And this was one of my most favorite stories. And I can tell because the binding is like totally broken right here. Do you see how it's like laying totally flat? Anyways, okay, here we go. This story is called Melinda May. Take a look at that picture before we start. What do you think is happening in this poem? What do you notice about this poem? What do you think that is lying on the table? All right, shall we find out? Have you heard of tiny Melinda May, who ate a monstrous whale? She thought she could. She said she would, so she started right at the tail. And everyone said, "You're much too small," but that didn't bother Melinda at all. She took little bites and she chewed very slow, just like a good girl should. And in 89 years, she ate that whale because she said she would. I don't know why I like that poem so much, but I just think it's so funny to think of this little girl who set her mind to a task and spent her whole life's work trying to make it happen. And I love how the scene changes over time, right? So you can see like the girl gets older and her chair gets more rickety and the table looks maybe a little more rickety. And then my favorite part is how the whale is just this like mass of bones, right? Do you see that? Isn't that so funny? I hope you have goals too, but I hope they don't necessarily take you 89 years to accomplish. So have goals, but make them realistic, okay? All right, Colds, that's it for tonight. I will see you tomorrow. Happy Earth Day and have a wonderful evening. Bye, friends.